Hello there, my dears. It's your Grandma Lily here, and welcome to Dear Grandma. Oh, the tapestry of family life. Isn't it something? We pour so much love and care into raising our children, watching them grow like little saplings reaching for the sun. But as the years pass and they blossom into adults, sometimes the way they see us seems to shift ever so slightly. We might find our advice isn't sought as often, our opinions brushed aside, or perhaps even feel a little like we're just in the way of their busy lives. It can tug at the heartstrings, can't it? But let me tell you something, my dears. You don't need to plead or yearn for their respect. You can nurture it, like tending a delicate flower, by how you carry yourself. Today, we'll talk about some gentle ways we, as parents, can encourage that respect from our children, not through demands or guilt, but through our own strength, our independence, and the love we show ourselves. We'll share stories of my dear friends and the little shifts that made a world of difference in their families. So, settle in with a cup of tea and let's have a little chat, shall we? Number 1. Gently letting go of the need for constant approval. You know, my dears, it's a tender spot for many of us. We can fall into the habit of always wanting to please our children, sometimes even putting our own needs to the side, hoping for a little nod of approval, a sign that we're still doing things right in their eyes. We think it's love, keeping the peace, staying close. But I've learned over the years that when we always put ourselves last, we might inadvertently teach our children that our own worth isn't as important. They might stop seeing us as individuals with our own thoughts and feelings and start taking our efforts for granted, like a familiar armchair they don't even notice anymore. Self-respect, you see, isn't something they bestow upon us. It's a light we shine from within ourselves. When we gently step back from constantly seeking their okay and start valuing our own needs, standing tall in our own way, saying a kind no when it feels right for us, something beautiful can happen. They begin to notice. Respect, like a gentle stream, flows from a place of inner strength, and that starts with us putting our own well-being back on our list of priorities. It reminds me a little of my dear friend Eleanor, a woman who always had a twinkle in her eye and a zest for life. But as she reached her late 60s, she became so focused on her 2 daughters' lives. She would drop her own plans, cancel her lovely gardening afternoons, even skip a nourishing meal if they needed a last-minute favor, even when they weren't always as appreciative as she hoped. She thought it kept her close to them, but it seemed to have the opposite effect. They would call with demands at all hours, and she would rush to help, her own voice becoming softer and less sure. One day, her eldest daughter said gently, "Mom, you don't always have to do this. Please, enjoy your own life." It was a kind wake-up call. Eleanor realized she might have inadvertently dimmed her own light, and in doing so, the way her daughters saw her had shifted. So, she started making small changes. She said no sometimes. She cherished her garden time, and she stood firm when they tried to push her boundaries. At first, they were a little surprised, but then they started asking for her help more thoughtfully and expressing their gratitude when she did. Eleanor's gentle self-respect became a mirror for them. The lesson, my dears, is this. Constantly seeking approval can feel like trying to fill a basket with a hole in the bottom. True respect blossoms when we nurture our own sense of worth. Let's not rearrange our days for their every whim unless it feels right for both of you. Let's speak our minds gently, not to argue, but to show we have our own thoughts and feelings. It isn't selfish to care for ourselves. It's essential. Our children, even grown ones, can sometimes test boundaries, not unkindly, but to understand where they are. If we don't have our own, they might not see them either. Start small. Perhaps decline one unnecessary request this week. Prioritize a good night's rest. Allow them to navigate their own little challenges. Watch how things might gently shift when they see you valuing yourself. You're not creating distance, you're teaching them that you are a whole person, and that's where respect can truly take root. Eleanor's daughters didn't just comply. They admired her quiet strength, and it all began when she gently chose herself first. Number 2, guiding, not arguing, with a gentle example. When our grown children dismiss our thoughts or speak to us in a way that doesn't feel quite right, our first instinct might be to want to defend ourselves, to show that we still have wisdom to share. But I've often observed that getting into heated arguments can be like trying to catch smoke. It just slips through your fingers. Raising our voices or snapping back can sometimes escalate things, and it might paint us in a light we don't intend. They might become more entrenched in their views, and that precious feeling of respect can drift away. The real strength, my dears, lies in staying calm, holding on to our dignity, and letting our actions speak softly. Children, yes, even adult ones, often learn more from what they see than from what they hear. When we show self-respect without needing to wrestle for it, we become a quiet source of strength they can't ignore. True strength isn't always loud. It's often a gentle steadiness, and that's what can turn their gaze. I remember my dear friend, Arthur, a retired librarian who always had a gentle wisdom about him. In his professional life, people admired his calm and thoughtful approach. But at home, his grown son would sometimes talk over him or dismiss his opinions as being out of touch. Arthur used to get quite flustered, his voice rising as he tried to assert his experience. It often led to strained silences and hurt feelings. Then, he decided to try a different approach. The next time his son scoffed at his suggestion about a household repair, Arthur didn't argue. He simply nodded, finished his tea, and later quietly fixed it himself, perfectly. He didn't boast or say, "I told you so." He just let the result speak for itself. Over time, Arthur maintained this gentle steadiness. He listened without interrupting, offered his thoughts when it felt right, and carried himself with a quiet confidence. His son started to pause, ask for his advice, and even apologize once for his earlier dismissal. Arthur's calm act spoke volumes. The gentle wisdom here is this: arguing can be a tangled path. Leading by example is the clearer way. When they roll their eyes or seem dismissive, perhaps take a moment. You can step away, not in anger, but with purpose. Show them respect by listening when they speak, even if you don't agree, without interrupting. Then, let your actions reflect your own self-respect. If they doubt your ability with something, quietly show them what you can do. Don't make a fuss. Let them observe. Composure is like a gentle light. Let it shine. They might test you with a sharp word or a bit of impatience, but try to hold your calm. Over time, they may mirror the respect you show. It's not always immediate, but it's genuine. Respect grows when they see you as a steady presence, not someone easily ruffled. Arthur didn't win by being louder. He won by his quiet strength, and you can too. Perhaps try one calm response this week. Number 3, gently nurturing your own emotional well-being. It's natural, my dears, to find joy in our children's calls, visits, or those simple "I love yous" that brighten our day. But when our happiness becomes too reliant on their constant attention, it can inadvertently place a weight on them that they might not even realize. They might sense a neediness, a feeling that they are responsible for our emotional well-being, and this can sometimes create a little distance. Our children, even grown ones, don't want to feel like they have to carry our hearts. It can shift the balance in the relationship, making us seem more fragile than the strong individuals we are. Gently pulling back that intense need, finding our own sources of joy, can create a beautiful shift. Emotional independence isn't about being distant. It's about being whole, for ourselves and for them. When they don't feel the pressure of carrying our emotional needs, they might start to value our connection even more. My dear friend Helen, a lovely woman in her late 60s, cherished her 2 daughters deeply, but after her husband passed, she longed for their constant presence. There were frequent texts asking when they would visit, and sometimes little guilt trips when they were busy with their own lives. She would call daily, almost seeking reassurance, and they would often reply with short, tired answers. She felt unloved, and they felt a little overwhelmed, a difficult cycle for everyone. Then a kind friend suggested, "Helen, stop chasing them and start nurturing yourself." Helen was hesitant, but she tried. She picked up painting again, joined a local walking group, and gently reduced her daily check-ins. At first, the silence felt a little strange, but soon she was too busy rediscovering her own passions to notice it as much. Weeks later, her phone rang. It was her daughter's, curious, "Mom, you sound so happy. What have you been up to?" They visited her, unprompted, drawn by her newfound spark. Helen's gentle independence had shifted the dynamic. They respected her strength and her ability to find joy in her own life. The gentle art here is in letting go, not of love, but of excessive neediness. Let's try not to measure our day by their texts or calls. Instead, let's fill our days with our own little joys. Perhaps pick up that hobby we once loved, call a friend we haven't spoken to in a while, or simply enjoy a quiet walk in nature. When they do reach out, let's be warm and present, not overly eager or hinting at loneliness. If they are less frequent in their contact for a time, let's not panic. They are likely just navigating their own busy lives. It can be a gentle letting go, as years of leaning take time to adjust. But it can work beautifully. Helen didn't lose her girls. She gained their admiration. We are not a burden when we are whole, and that wholeness can gently draw respect towards us. Perhaps try one small act of self-care today, one little joy just for you, and see what unfolds. It's not about creating distance, it's about nurturing our own dignity, and that's something they will honor. Number 4, setting gentle boundaries with love and firmness. My dears, children, even our grown-up ones, respect what we cherish and protect, our time, our peace, our sense of self. When we allow them to constantly interrupt, dismiss our opinions, or speak impatiently, it can inadvertently give them the impression that our boundaries aren't important. No boundaries can sometimes mean a diminishing of respect. But when we set clear and gentle boundaries, calmly and firmly, and we uphold them, they will learn. It's not about being harsh or rigid, it's about showing that we value ourselves. When we consistently maintain these gentle limits, they will see that we are not simply a doormat, but a steady presence in their lives. Respect, like a well-tended garden, thrives in structure, and our boundaries are like the gentle fences that help it grow. I remember my friend, Robert, a retired businessman with a kind heart. His grown children would often treat him like a convenient sounding board, interrupting his stories, making light of his experiences, or arriving late for visits without a word. Robert would often shrug it off, thinking that being tolerant was the same as being loving, but it left him feeling a little unseen. One day, feeling a gentle resolve, he spoke to them calmly. "I am always here for you, but I also need to feel heard and respected." The next time his son barged in mid-conversation, Robert gently stood up and said, "Let's talk when you have a moment to listen," and he quietly left the room. There was a surprised silence. It took a little time, some initial pushback and perhaps a little sulking, but they gradually adjusted. They started knocking before interrupting, and they would apologize if they were late. Robert's gentle firmness earned their respect, not his silence. Here's a gentle way to approach this. Choose your boundaries. Perhaps no calls after a certain hour unless it's an emergency, or a gentle reminder that unkind words are hurtful. State these boundaries clearly and calmly, without raising your voice. "I find I need quiet evenings to rest," or "I would appreciate it if we could speak to each other with kindness." Then gently enforce them. If they call late unnecessarily, perhaps let it go to voicemail and respond in the morning. If they speak dismissively, you can say calmly, "That doesn't feel very respectful." They might test these new gentle limits, as new rules can sometimes feel a little uncomfortable. but try to remain steady. You don't need to nag or over-explain. Sometimes, allowing the natural consequences, like not getting an immediate response late at night, can be a gentle teacher. If they cross the boundary again, simply reiterate it calmly, not in anger, but with gentle resolve. It's a gradual process, like tending a slow-growing plant. Consistency is our gentle strength. Robert didn't see a change overnight, but over time, his gentle boundaries nurtured respect. Boundaries aren't walls, they are gentle frames that show our self-worth. Perhaps try setting one small, gentle boundary this week and observe how it feels. Number 5. The gentle wisdom of giving with appreciation. As parents, it's often in our nature to give our time, our resources, our effort, almost as if it's second nature. But when our children accept these gifts without a simple thank you, it can sometimes foster a sense of entitlement, even unintentionally. We might cook, drive, or help out with grandchildren, and they might act as if it's simply expected. Over time, this can inadvertently diminish the value of our efforts. If we keep giving without any acknowledgement, they might not truly see the gift we are offering. Let's try to gently connect our generosity with appreciation. Perhaps offer help when it's genuinely asked for and acknowledged, and maybe pause when it's not. This isn't about being stingy, my dears. It's about gently teaching the value of gratitude. Appreciation isn't always automatic. It's something that can be nurtured, and we can be gentle guides in this. When they value our efforts, they, in turn, value us. And respect often follows gratitude like a gentle shadow. I remember my friend George, a kind and generous man in his mid-70s. He would often help his children financially, watch his grandchildren at a moment's notice, and rearrange his entire day for them without a word of complaint. Sometimes, they would simply grunt an acknowledgement and then ask for more, perhaps even expressing mild annoyance if he hesitated. He thought it kept them close, but it seemed to create a different dynamic. One Christmas, he had saved carefully to give them a thoughtful gift, and he received a rather lukewarm response. It gave him pause. The next time they called asking for a loan, he said gently, "I'm happy to help when I know it's truly appreciated." They were taken aback, perhaps a little huffy, but weeks later, they thanked him sincerely for past help and asked more thoughtfully for his assistance. George's gentle pause had subtly shifted the dynamic. They seemed to respect his generosity more when it wasn't simply expected. Perhaps we can try this gentle approach. Give freely when it feels right, but if our efforts are consistently met without acknowledgement, we can gently step back a little. We might say something like, "I'm always happy to help when I know it's appreciated." There's no need for guilt trips, just a gentle statement, and then we can observe. The next time a favor is asked, perhaps wait until we hear a genuine please and a thank you afterwards. If not, it might be okay to let them navigate that situation on their own. This isn't about punishment. It's a gentle lesson that our time and effort are valuable. George's children might not have loved the initial shift, but they learned quickly the importance of gratitude. We are not simply there to serve. We are mentors in kindness and appreciation, and that holds its own quiet power. One gentle pause can sometimes spark a significant shift. Perhaps try it and see how your worth is gently reconsidered. Number 6. Gently cultivating a life beyond our children. When our whole world seems to revolve solely around our children, every call, every visit, every little mood swing dictating our day, it can sometimes feel a little overwhelming for them, even if they don't express it. Centering our entire lives on them alone can inadvertently dim our own light, and perhaps make us seem less like a whole person, and more like a satellite orbiting their world. Let's gently build something else for ourselves. Hobbies, friendships, a sense of purpose that is uniquely ours. This can create a beautiful shift in the dynamic. We are not just mom or dad. We are individuals with our own interests and passions, vibrant and alive. That can be truly magnetic. Children, even grown ones, often respect what stands strong and independent, not what clings. A fulfilling life outside of them doesn't push them away. It can gently draw them in, perhaps even with a newfound admiration for our own spark. I remember my dear friend Elena, a wonderful widow. After her husband passed, she poured all her energy into her 3 children, wanting to be there for them in every way. She would cook their meals, keep track of their schedules, and wait anxiously by the phone. Gradually, they seemed to drift a little. Short calls, infrequent visits, perhaps feeling a little overwhelmed by her constant need to be involved. Elena felt a pang of loneliness. Then, she found a new path. She joined a book club, took a solo trip to the coast, and started volunteering at a local animal shelter. At first, she felt a little guilty, wondering if she should be more available for her children. But soon, a beautiful thing happened. She began to glow with her own happiness. Her son called one day. "Mom, you sound so happy. What have you been up to?" They started dropping by more often, drawn to her newfound energy, not her emptiness. Elena's full life didn't diminish their bond. It deepened it, and her independence gently earned their pride. So, my dears, let's gently make it our own. Perhaps pick one small thing: painting, a gentle walk in nature, learning a new craft, and dedicate some time to it, without feeling the need to wait for their call or invitation. Maybe call a friend instead of waiting. Consider a short trip. Join a local group. Pursue a dream that is just for you. When they ask what you've been doing, share your joy, but don't feel the need to persuade them to join in. Let them be curious. This isn't about creating detachment. It's about adding depth to our own lives, and our joy can be contagious. Elena's children didn't just respect her. They admired her resilience and her ability to find happiness. Perhaps this week, let's dedicate 1 hour to ourselves, to something that brings us joy, not connected to our children. Maybe cultivate that little pottery skill, enjoy a quiet cup of tea with a friend, or volunteer where our hearts feel called. They will notice, not our absence, but our richer presence when we are with them. Respect, like a gentle breeze, flows when we are a source of our own light, not just a reflection. Let's gently ignite that spark within ourselves, and they will feel its warmth. There you have it, my dears. Today on Dear Grandma, we've talked about some gentle yet powerful ways to nurture respect from our grown-up children, gently letting go of the need for constant approval, guiding by example, nurturing our own emotional well-being, setting gentle boundaries, the wisdom of giving with appreciation, and gently cultivating a life beyond them. These aren't quick fixes, but rather gentle shifts that show our children that we are not just their parents, but individuals of strength and value in our own right. Respect isn't demanded or begged for. It's often inspired, step by gentle step, through our actions and the love we show ourselves. So, perhaps try one small thing this week. Offer a gentle no when needed. Hold your calm in a conversation, or dedicate some quiet time to a joy that is just yours. And watch with a gentle heart how the dynamic might begin to transform. You deserve relationships that lift you up, not wear you down, and with a little patience and gentle persistence that is within reach. What gentle step will you take this week? Share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear them and offer a little encouragement. If this resonated with you, please do give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to Dear Grandma for more gentle wisdom, and share it with other parents who might need a little reassurance. Here's to nurturing respect and thriving together.